The mission of the Blues Alley Jazz Society is to promote youth jazz and education here in our nation's capital. And it was stimulated by an idea that was brought to us during a jazz act by the name of Dizzy Gillespie. And he came to us and indicated that elsewhere in the United States there had been a movement, a private sector movement, to promote jazz programs and jazz education domestically to help enhance children's understanding of this unique musical art form. The programs that we created, not only do they fold into one another, but they don't exist elsewhere. We have a summer jazz camp to prime the jazz musical pump, to promote children from the summer workshops and classes and clinics to the mainstream youth orchestra throughout the balance of the school year from September through April or May. And then in the last week of April, we produced the Big Band Jam, which is the third of our primary programs to help promote public performance by children. And I'd like to introduce Blues Alley's very own musical director, Mr. Jock T. Johnson, Sr. Let's have a big round of applause for Mr. Johnson. And without further ado, I bring you the Blues Alley Youth Orchestra. Take it away, Mr. Johnson.
Before I worked with Blues Alley, I was in the military. I was in the Army for 27.5 years, and I was in the band for 27.5 years. And my last 17 years was at the Army Band at Fort Myer, one of the world's greatest bands. And I came as a E6 staff sergeant, and I ended up being the sergeant major in charge, the group leader. E9, I was the first African American to make E9 in the Army Band. So I made history.
Jacques is quite a unique individual. I love him dearly because what he's about is about, once again, youth education. His passion for it is quite obvious within rehearsing the Blues Alley Youth Orchestra, plus seeing the ensemble performance. He comes with a rich history as being a professional musician himself, and understands that his many years of experience as a professional musician is of value to give to young students, and they respond so wonderfully because of who he is.
He's just the best director in DC. We learn a lot from him, actually, because, you know, he's been doing this thing for like, what, 30 years? I think it's more. So we're blessed to have him. He taught us so much. He taught me a lot for like 3 years. It was really good. And I'm in the fall band with them. So that's just even more, you know, that's good for me.
They get better, you know. Mr. Johnson does a great job at putting together the songs, and somehow he gets them all to do what they're supposed to do.
We have two programs. We have a summer program where we take kids who are just learning and want to learn to play jazz, and we teach them. Both programs are free. The summer program is like a camp that most people pay $500 to $1,000 for. This is sponsored by Blues Alley Jazz Society. It is free, and we even furnish the kids lunch.
My daughter has been here 2 years. Her brother has been here 4. And we look forward to this camp every summer. They really have to be able to read music. And I think having the other kids around them, and my daughter's the type of person that if someone needs help, she's the first one to volunteer. So I think by helping other people and by having to do things very quickly, she has definitely become a better musician.
Well, I do like the fact that they are together every day. And it's not just an hour we're here or 2 hours we're here. They're there at the camp from 9 to 3. And under the program, they're playing, they're learning about the history of jazz. They have guests that come in and teach them. So they're doing something. It's not just playing for 9 to 3. They're learning, they're playing, they're experiencing different things, they're interacting with each other. And it's a free camp. So I feel honored that Aaliyah is able to participate.
This program, we like have 5 master classes for the kids. And we take kids who can play just a little, and we work with them, and at the end of the summer, when we finish, the kids that bring tears to your eyes because they're really playing. We have this young trumpet player who's 11 years old. He's 300% better now than when he started. 300%. That's a lot.
I really liked the Alan Balak workshop because he was just like really cool way to like learn how to compose, which I like, but I'm not very good at, so it's good like for me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of musicians that are performing musicians and then they do some writing, but for me personally, I view myself as a writer first. And I think working with the summer camp here, I came in to do a clinic on writing. I mean, I played a little bit and I love playing trumpet, but so much of my day is spent writing music for jazz ensemble and in the jazz genre that it's a little bit unique there. I think there's fewer of us out there that have such a focus on just that particular thing. Okay, G. It's a G. In the original, it's the, well, I don't want to get too, yeah, I'll get complicated. It's the 5th scale degree of the, okay. So that's a G. It can be a 5th. It can be the 2nd in an F chord, all right? So I could put an F chord there, and that G would still work. I can make it an F minor chord, and that G would still work. Okay, I can make it an E half diminished. Oh, I can make it an A7 flat 9. Oh man, that works also in a C over D flat. I mean, it's endless, just endless. So for that one note, there's a myriad of chords that you can throw in there. The trick is getting when you have a whole melody where you want one chord. What I see in the kids here is that spark, that same spark, and I recognize it because I had it also. I think hopefully I still have it. But it's that twinkle in their eye, the little spark when they sit down and play their instrument or when they listen to music or interact with each other. I think that's great. And I think this setting and this camp is perfect for expanding on that.
We have a program primarily to promote youth jazz through our big band youth orchestra.
I got involved with the Blues Alley Youth Orchestra when I was going into my junior year in high school. I just happened to be on the internet, on the Blues Alley website, and saw an ad for the youth orchestra. Thought I'd check it out.
The youth orchestra, the second week of September, we have a meeting at Blues Alley, and after the meeting, I go with Grace Church and I audition kids. Like we have 50 kids there, and by the end of the day, it may be, I may keep 20, 25 at the most, and we take the best.
We have an open door policy, but we demand a certain level of loyalty and commitment to performances.
Certainly Mr. Schnipper, Harry Schnipper, who's the executive director at Blues Alley, has given me a lot of, opportunities to play and to meet people, and it's helped me kind of work up a good network of musicians in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area.
The Blues Alley Youth Orchestra is one of those unique orchestras that pulls together students and kids, not just in Washington, but actually from the Washington region, taking them into a setting, as in Big Band Jam, where they not only will perform, but they also have access to professionals in the field, so they have an opportunity to see where this path will take them if they desire to become a professional musicians. But it's that interaction that's necessary to give a sense of where one's path will take them.
Looking back on it when she gets grown and realizes, wow, I really had a good opportunity that not everyone gets. You are really meeting people that do this for a living. This is not in theory. This is real life. These are people who do this. These people who play it. These are professional people, and you get to hear them. You get to play with them. You get to learn from them, and you don't even have to worry about trying to contact them and find them. They bring them to you. You can't ask for anything better than that.
In numbers of musicians, professional musicians, these young musicians have access to them and will continue to grow in a way because of, one, you have a setting or an environment like Big Band Jam, you know, the Blues Alley and the Smithsonian and its partners that recognize the value of youth education and want to help them through that process of growth and have the intellectual resources, some of the financial resources, and just the passion for it.
If you start